Guys, want to mix it up a little bit here, bring on a guest that, Jim, you've had on many times as well, a company you follow closely, International Flavors and Fragrances, the company having reported numbers. It will begin its conference call soon as well. But we've got Andreas Fibig, the company's chairman and CEO, first on CNBC with us this morning. Andreas, nice to have you with us. And I want to get right to the quarter itself and what you saw, because you saw positives, of course, as a result of significant demand for ingredients and solutions, for example, in certain consumer products, packaged food, and the like. And then you also saw fragrances and cosmetics, I would assume, sales of which declined, given nobody could go into a department store, for example. So what are you doing at IFF to adjust to this new reality?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me here. We had a good quarter, and that was driven by certain categories and certainly by the ability of IFF to basically work with the supply chain. All of our 110 manufacturing factories are open, and that was a bit of a challenge, but I come to that later. What is really thriving right now is on the flavor side and ingredient side, the center of the aisle in the supermarkets, everything which is packaged foods, which goes in there. We see it also on hand sanitizers and detergents, which are really, really going extremely well. And that's driven by the demand we see in the marketplace, but also by some of the big wins we had end of last year. As you were saying, what is not going very well is in particular fine fragrances or cosmetics, or some of the food service products as well. But in general, I would say strong quarter and a good start into the year.
Yeah, given that, Andreas, why not share 2020 full year guidance?
Look, we believe that, or we see that the market is super volatile at the moment right now. And we see spikes in some categories. It goes up by 200, 300%, and others are going down. We said it's just too volatile right now, and we don't know how the recovery will happen when all the different countries are opening up again to keep the guidance. But we will give, over the course of the second quarter, more guidance on the second quarter when we can do so. And I think it's the right thing to do for that situation. The good thing is it's a global business. We are selling our products in more than 200 different markets. And the whole COVID-19 crisis, as you well know, started in China. So we took a lot of learnings from our Chinese operations. Then it went to Europe, then finally to the US and Latin America. And that helped us to adjust. What is a big question for us right now in our consumer insight studies, what will be sustainable of these trends? So will be, let's say, all the health, the vitamins in food be a sustainable trend? Are we seeing that the people using more hand sanitizers going forward and wash as much as they do right now? That's underway. We do every year around about 500,000 consumer interviews. We really want to figure out what is important for our customers to be successful in the future.
Yeah, and we talk a great deal about what the new normal is going to look like, Andreas. What about your own workers? I know most of them are reporting to your facilities and have been throughout this. What changes have you made? What changes do you anticipate making as well in terms of how the work is getting done?
First of all, I'm extremely proud that all of our essential workers are showing up every single day in our factories and working. We have done a lot to help them to stay safe. We have split the shifts. The shifts don't touch or see each other even. We have the face mask in there. We do before they leave their homes, they do their own temperature measure. They have SOPs they are following. And that's the reason why all of our 110 factories are open and working. Even most of our labs are working with different shifts as well. The only are the office workers, which are in many countries are still home. And now gradually we are restarting the office as well. But as we find being now on Zoom here, it works very fine with people working from home as well. What we have done also is to help the frontline healthcare workers, the police departments, with some hand sanitizers. We have now, up to now, produced more than 70 metric tons in hand sanitizers and have developed a special scent. We call it Hope 2020, which we distribute for free. to all of these workers in right now 8 countries and more to come.
Andreas, it's Jim. It's great to see you, and congratulations on an amazing quarter.
Thank you, Jim.
I don't know if people understand how much of your business is the business that's really sidelined. We don't care how we smell on Zoom. So obviously you pivoted. I've always felt that was so great about your model, right? I mean, you could pivot.
We have to figure this out, and then certainly the merger with the DuPont N&B business is on track as well. You know, we announced it last December. We are very proud that we have announced yesterday the top leadership team, the purpose and vision of the new company, and even despite the COVID-19 situation, we are not missing a beat in combining these two companies together.
Yeah, but I love the nutrition part. I mean, I love the way you broke things down. Again, it's a great mosaic because it's a couple $1 billion product lines that are all growth mode, and I know Ed Breen's excited about it. Something you taught me early on was that we like the taste of the first thing we tasted when we were born. We are in a very insecure time, and people are at home. We want to be comfortable in any way we can. Are you seeing a resurgence of the basic taste that we got when we were born?
Yes. Maybe not when you were born, what you experienced in your childhood. Yes. Macaroni cheese in this country, for example, and other tastes all over the place. I think that's the reason why people are now going back to some of the big brands they know for years and for decades.
Andreas, finally, you mentioned the DuPont deal, of course, on track, as you've said, to close in the early part of 2021. Your stock got whacked after you announced that deal. It has come back since, in part on the strength of the results themselves. But what did the market not appreciate, understand, or not like about that deal that it seems to have come around to appreciating now?
I think there are a couple of things. The first, we had to understand what is the strategic logic behind the deal. Secondly, we had to discuss the financing, how we really want to make it happen. And we acquired 2 years ago another company called Frutarom, and we had to explain that we basically will finish the integration of Frutarom until the 3rd and 4th quarter this year, and then basically go 1st quarter next year into the next big integration exercise. And I have to say, looking at the 1st quarter of both companies, whether it's DuPont N&B or ours, it shows there are 2 essential businesses which will be combined here, and we're pruned to growth going forward, even in that environment. On top of it, we are now in the position to really do integrated solutions where we can bring a lot of these ingredients together. Let me give you an example. We see right now a lot of plant-based burgers, plant-based meat, even with the meat crisis in the US, there's a lot of demand. Now, as a company, we are not just flavoring that. We can do the plant-based protein, which we get. We can bring the texturizers into it. We basically can do almost the whole product here for our customers. And I think this is a very strategic advantage we are having against all of our competitors.
Well, Andreas, we always appreciate your updating us on those various efforts. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Take care. Stay healthy.